Pensacola Beach is closed to everybody, including residents, so we'll go there by boat for a look at the destruction. And weather forecasters aren't getting a break. Another tropical storm is churning its way up in the Atlantic.
Johnette has the details. Hi, everyone. I'm Nancy Pierce.
And I'm Bob Grip. Action News 10 at 5 p.m. is next.
You're watching WALA Channel 10, bringing you more news more often. Now, from the #1 news station on the Gulf Coast, this is Action News 10 live at 5 p.m.
The day after, folks along the Gulf Coast look in at awe at the damage left behind by Hurricane Opal.
Already crews are out trying to get things back to normal, but for many, things will never be the same. Hi, everyone. It was amazing to see the sunshine today after yesterday's storm.
Although most folks in Alabama were lucky, Florida seemed to be a hurricane magnet, drawing another storm to its shore. Let's take a look from Gulf Shores all the way to Fort Walton Beach. Our photographer Brad Gunther took to the air early this morning to fly along the coast. This is Gulf Shores, and here you can see some of the damage to the beach along the Gulf Shores area. West Beach really is a beach. There's lots of sand just about everywhere. There's also damage to the pavilion that'll be coming up. There was a lot of beach erosion as well, a lot of shingles that were missing. As we fly east from Alabama to Florida, the damage increases. The front of that building simply collapsed right on the beachfront. And you can see the bottom floor of this condo coming up is simply missing. Pensacola Beach, the sand is so deep it almost buried some houses all the way up to their roofs. You're just looking barely at the roofs of those homes. Look at that. Hard to tell where the roads used to be. Now, Fort Walton Beach, look at this, a house in the middle of the water. More scenes of destruction there. Look at how the roof just peeled off like it was aluminum foil. Just looks like no effort at all. More damage to beachfront property. You can see some places were hardly touched, others the roofs were just pulled off. Bet you didn't know there were cliffs in Fort Walton Beach. Well, there are now. And look at the road that used to connect Fort Walton to Destin. Entire sections are just missing. They're underwater. You just can't go that way anymore. Well, folks along Pensacola Beach were still recovering from Hurricane Aaron when Opal began her deadly trek toward the shore. The second hit it got from Opal was just too much for Pensacola Beach, leaving it, as you saw, a disaster area. Action News 10's Nancy Pasternak spent the day in a boat trying to get to the beach. She joins us now from our newsroom. Nancy?
Well, Bob, many residents joined us at the base of the bridge leading to Pensacola Beach, many of them holding binoculars and cameras with zoom lenses. These people had just been through the horrible experience of Aaron, but as one person said, Aaron was a spring shower compared to Opal. Santa Rosa Island, as we once knew it, is no more. The situation is so bad, access to the area is restricted to emergency crews only at this time. Now, from the water, we could see a number of destroyed buildings, including one restaurant that had burnt to the ground. Home and business owners are left just wondering what's become of their community.
Just wondering what's happening with my house and if I have a job, if my friends all have jobs or houses.
Now, we've also been told the island has now become a few islands. Apparently, Opal brought in water surges so great the island is split into 3 different parts.
Okay, Nancy, do we have any idea when folks can get back to their homes?
No, at this time, emergency crews are still cruising the area, checking on gas lines, telephone lines, electric lines, cleaning up the debris, and they're also looking for any people who may have stayed on the island to ride out the storm.
Okay, thanks, Nancy.
Well, Opal's winds proved to be too much for power lines near our Pensacola Bureau long before the eye of the storm made it to shore last night.
And after that, we didn't have a chance really to talk to Action News 10's Dave Daughtry, but he joins us now to fill us in.
Well, we spent the storm riding it out by riding through the storm, actually, Nancy. And Bob, once the power went out, we just rode around trying to get some shots of the west side of town during this particular hurricane. Gulf Power has made remarkable progress. Nearly 90% of power has been returned to Gulf Breeze, for example. However, much of West Pensacola around the Naval Air Station, Pine Forest, Scenic Heights, and North Pensacola still do not have electricity. Over in Santa Rosa County, about 18% of power has been returned in Milton, where much work remains to be done. At one point, Gulf Power was reporting nearly 250,000 customers without power throughout their system, which goes all the way down to near in Bay County. Many emergency shelters remain open, even as people begin to drift back to their homes or to the mainland or to move in with relatives and friends. the Escambia County Utilities Authority faces an enormous task in restoring service to the beaches and to low-lying areas. They are not even trying to estimate damage at this point, nor will they estimate when service will be fully restored. That could take weeks. Bell South moves swiftly in getting service back in the downtown area and in much of greater Pensacola, but on the beaches, of course, and eastward toward Navarre and Destin, all services, including telephones, are going to take days to be back online. Bob, Nancy, having just come through Aaron and now Opal, seems rather like deja vu. Those of us who live in greater Pensacola felt really that we dodged a bullet with this one while our neighbors to the east took that direct hit. Natives of this area tell us that practically every dune on Perdido and Pensacola Beach wiped out.
Unbelievable.
And that it will take many years before the look that we're familiar with on these islands looks familiar again.
Tragic situation.
Certainly
Unbelievable. 2 months to the day of Aaron, too.
But we're so lucky. 8 casualties, I understand, here on the mainland of Florida, and another 20-some-odd when it moved across the Yucatan. So we're still lucky in quite some ways.
All right. Well, it's good to see you safe and sound, Dave.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Folks along Gulf Shores watched anxiously as high winds bent trees and sent waves crashing under the boardwalk. Now that the skies have finally cleared, Action News 10's Jason Berry joins us live from Gulf Shores with a look at the damage. Jason, yesterday it looked like things were about to be washed away. How do things look now?
Lucky, Bob, very lucky. That's what beach business owners keep saying to themselves over and over again. I think everybody out here realizes that if Opal had turned her head just a shade more to the west, there might not be anything left to clean up. That's not to say Gulf Shores doesn't have its share of problems, and I happen to be standing on one of them. If you can take a look, no, I am not on the beach. I am standing on what used to be the beach parking lot. We're not talking a little sand here. We're talking about mountains and mountains of sand. Construction crews have been out here all morning long trying to clear this stuff away. Must be at least maybe 3-4 different feet worth of sand covering the entire area. As we walk down here along the beach, you can see how much sand we're really talking about. Now, the big concern that everybody has out here, residents and local officials, is the Shrimp Festival, which is supposed to be taking place here in the next week or so. The big question is, will they get this cleaned up in time to try and put on what is arguably the biggest event in Gulf Shores? We've got some business owners out here who have been cleaning up all morning long. How long have you guys been out here?
About 5 hours.
How much sand? A lot of sand you guys have to clean up.
Oh, it's tons of it. We got about 4 feet by the door. It's gone through our business and just made a mess.
I mean, you guys consider yourselves pretty lucky considering where this storm was?
Well, we put a lot of prayer into this place. We're Jesus First Ministries. We serve as the Christian outreach here during the Shrimp Festival on the beach, and the Lord has spared us time and time again.
All right, we appreciate you talking to us. We'll help you get back up, and I guess you guys could probably use an extra shovel. Again, the big concern here is how quickly they can clean this area up. Local officials have not made any final decisions on what they're going to do with the Shrimp Festival. We've heard that there is a possibility it could be postponed. There is a possibility it could be moved to the state park just up the road, and there is a possibility that they could get this entire area cleaned up in time to hold it right here. One of the other concerns is the pavilion, which, Bob, you were talking about. You can't really see it. It's off in the distance. I mean, it was pretty much torn to shreds. Now, coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll show you some close-up pictures of what Hurricane Opal did to the pavilion, and we'll talk a little bit more with some business owners and show you what the extent of the damage is. But again, the word out here is everybody feels pretty fortunate. Bob?
Almost looks like Gulf Shores got hit by a snowstorm with all of that. That really is incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Jason. Folks along the eastern shore in Spanish Fort made out pretty well out of the storm, but they lost their water. Well, good news tonight. The water line has now been fixed, but because of the break, health officials are asking you to boil your water before using it for drinking or cooking for at least the next 2 days. If you don't have power and you can't boil it, the Spanish Fort Volunteer Fire Department is providing portable water trailers for you. Those trailers can be found at mile marker number 1 on Highway 31. The water is free, but you must take your own container. Still ahead tonight, we'll have important information about schools.
Plus, work crews trying to restore a sense of normalcy to the Gulf Coast. As the remnants of Hurricane Opal move northward, it is hard to believe that in a matter of hours, wind, rain, and waves could cause $1.8 billion in Florida alone. That means it is the second costliest storm in Florida's history, but it doesn't come close to Hurricane Andrew, which caused $17 billion in damage. Hurricane Opal is being blamed for killing at least 11 people in the U.S., 1 in Florida, 2 in Alabama, 7 in Georgia, and another in North Carolina. More than 1 million people were in the dark after the storm hit land.
Well, folks along the Gulf Coast are just getting back to normalcy. Let's take a look at some of the pictures, the new pictures we have just in from Fort Walton Beach. This church that was heavily damaged is now open to the skies, as you can see. Just a terrible scene in Fort Walton. Of course, the eye of the storm crossed very close to the Fort Walton Beach, Mary Esther area. And as you can see, this church was left without a roof. They're going to be facing some tough times ahead. As you can see, this boat wound up parked at the Whataburger. It's not going to get any drive-in service anytime soon. It gives you an example of the power of the storm, that it was able to lift sailboats right across the beach, right into the middle of the streets. Incredible, incredible sight. Well, folks along the coast are getting their power back this evening after the hurricane-force winds from Hurricane Opal. Alabama power crews are out repairing lines for folks all over southwestern Alabama. Officials say they had 113,000 folks in Alabama without power when the hurricane came ashore last night. In Baldwin County, Riviera utility officials say all of their customers now have power. Alabama power officials say they plan to have all of their customers' power back by Saturday. Well, now that folks have had a chance to assess the damage, we have some important information about schools and businesses.
Schools reopening tomorrow include Baldwin County Public Schools, Mobile County Public Schools, Mobile Catholic Schools, Faith Academy, Independent Methodist, the University of Mobile, Crum Child Care Center, Cedar Grove Academy, St. Mark United Methodist, and Washington County Schools.
Those closed tomorrow include Escambia County Public Schools in Alabama, Santa Rosa County Schools, Most Pure Heart of Mary in Mobile, in Florida, St. Mary's School in Mobile, and Spring Hill College.
The Baldwin County courthouses will be open tomorrow, so will Armstrong World Industries, Softly Field, and Whiting Field. The Red Cross Blood Center in Northwest Florida will be open. Officials say blood is desperately needed in Florida and Alabama.
Also, the Red Cross has asked us to announce the centers in Mobile and Baldwin counties are closed. The United Methodist Women's Conference for Alabama and West Florida has been postponed, and the Christus lecture scheduled for tonight on feminist theology at Spring Hill College has been canceled.
I don't think any of us thought we would get to Opal, and now here we are at
Could be
Pablo.
at Pablo.
I tell you, there was a lecture tonight's schedule called Hurricanes, a Way of Life. That has been canceled, by the way. Okay, tropical storms. We do have another one out there, and at this point, Pablo is no Opal. I'll have the forecast locally in just a couple of minutes. We certainly have different weather to talk about today. Good news, Pablo is out there, but Pablo's not a problem for us. And Opal has moved away from the Gulf Coast. It's sitting right up here in the Midwest. And let's go ahead and add the fronts and show you a little system right here, spreading some scattered rain showers across the northern plains and coming out of the Rockies and the higher elevations. They're getting a little snow up there. They're getting a lot of rain right now from Ohio and Indiana back up into the eastern Great Lakes. That's the remnants of Opal sitting right there. And the little cool fronts running down into Florida. We've had a beautiful day out there with mostly sunny skies. Generally, temperatures are about 82 degrees in the inland areas and about 80 degrees down along the beaches. This frontal boundary right here, a cool front is going to push on through the area tomorrow. It's going to go stationary, though, once it reaches Mobile and Pensacola. This is the way the radar plot shows it. You can see the remnants of Opal up here in the Ohio River Valley, and even some rain showers running down across Virginia and North Carolina. Some rain showers along the beaches of Virginia, and then running down past Georgia. Some rain showers associated with that frontal system that whips on all the way down to South Florida. It's out there, and let's see what's going on. Well, because of all the rainfall, we do have a lot of flood warnings in effect across Alabama and Florida, including all of these creeks and rivers. Big Coldwater Creek, Blackwater River, Escambia River, Yellow River, the Creek of Murder Creek in Alabama, Conecuh River, and the big Escambia Creek. All of these are at flood stage or higher. And the rain, of course, in northern Alabama and central Alabama still has to flow right on through northwest Florida. Here's Opal sitting right there on your screen and looking back toward the tropics. We even have Noel right there. Noel is moving toward the Azores. We'll leave Noel alone, but we've got Pablo. We've gone all the way past O and gone on to P. Here's what we've got. 11.0 degrees north and 40.0 degrees west with winds now up to 50 miles per hour. It's moving to the west-northwest at 22 miles per hour. It's still 1,400 miles away from the Lesser Antilles, so it's still way on out there. We'll keep you updated as where it will be and where it's moving, okay? This is what the map's going to look like tomorrow. We talked about the cold front moving into the area. It's going to give us cooler nights and milder days for the weekend, but it's going to go stationary tomorrow night. Still good news for the football games on Friday around our area. Fair, mild weather tonight, a little patchy fog with light west winds. The overnight low about 62 degrees. Mostly sunny weather for tomorrow, and the high is going to be in the mid-80s with west winds becoming northwest 10 to 15. Today's weather picture comes from Mrs. Busby's class at Fonville Elementary. That's what happens when the rain ends. You get a rainbow, you get flowers growing, and you say, whew. Crystal Johnson drew today's picture.
We like it.
Glad to see rainbows.
You bet.
Yeah. Okay, for the first time in 2 days, let's not talk about Opal anymore or OJ.
Sounds good, and the Braves are sitting pretty.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good, aren't they? They jumped out to a 2-0 lead on the Rockies, and that's a good spot to be. We've got some highlights and all the other baseball to talk about. Our trivia question also deals with the best-of-5 series. In fact, the National League, that's not the NFL, that's the National League, NL Championship Series, was a best-of-5 from 1969 to 1984. Now, how many times did a team drop the first 2 games at home, then rally to win the series? The answer in sports is coming up next.
You're watching Action News 10, the news team that brings you more news more often.
25 times during the regular season, the Braves came from behind to win a game in their final at-bat, and the trend is continuing in the NL playoffs as they've done it in both of the first 2 games with the Rockies. We take you to last night's action. First pitch of the game off Lance Painter, and there goes Marquise Grissom. He had 2 in the game. He's had 3 for the series. Don Baylor needs a seed. It was 1-0 Bravos at that point, but we're tied at 4 in the ninth. Mike Mordecai, the former South Alabama Jaguar, up the middle. McGriff scores 5-4. The Braves win, and the Rockies are reeling.
It might be the ultimate and frustrating that I've ever had to deal with when they got that last one and take the lead down. I just kind of deflated.
Meanwhile, the Reds are sitting pretty as they take a 2-0 lead on the Dodgers. Last night in L.A., Reggie Sanders muscling up for the homer. Reds win it 5-4, and afterwards, Sanders talked about his tater.
Well, that was just a situation where, I was just going to be aggressive. I was sitting off speed. He threw me off speed, so glad he didn't throw me a fastball anymore, so I was able to capitalize on off speed.
Okay, all teams off tonight. They will resume tomorrow. And while the Reds and Braves are proving to be road warriors, there's no place like home in the American League playoffs. Last night in New York, the Yankees had to work overtime before getting past the Mariners. And holy cow, Phil Rizzuto throwing out the first pitch, and I'm not sure Phil liked this one. We played late into the night, or early into the morning, I should say, until tied at 5 in the 15th. Jim Leyritz deep. A 2-run homer, 7-5 your final there, and Leyritz is the hero.
It was just one of those things, like I said, when I got up there, I was just looking for a pitch to drive, and fortunately got it up in the zone, and when I saw the ball go over the fence, I was just elated, exhausted, everything. It was a great feeling.
And finally, at the Jake last night, the Indians and Red Sox, Eddie Murray, he still has it, doesn't he? Look at the stroke there, and gone. Well, while Murray was hitting him out, Oral Hershiser pitching 7 1/3 strong innings. He had 7 Ks, just 3 hits, and Oral looking pretty good.
I'm just glad I didn't give it up there a couple times that I felt like I was had bad control. I think I still kind of worried about that second inning. I thought I would really had ruined the game there for a minute.
Again, 4-0 the final there. The Indians over the Red Sox. All those teams have 2-0 leads. Now, in 1969 to 1984, the National League Championship Series was a best-of-5. And how many times did the team drop the first 2 games at home, then rally to win the series? It never happened. So that bodes well for the Braves and Reds. But actually, you have to think that the Yankees and the Indians are also sitting pretty nice. They only have to win 1 of 3 to win the series and move on.
Not bad. I'm ready. Thanks,
Good.
Lance.
Be back in a minute.
Tonight on WALA Channel 10.
Okay, once again, let's go over that important information about the schools that are open and other businesses.
All right, schools reopening tomorrow include Baldwin County Public Schools, Mobile County Public Schools, Mobile Catholic Schools, Faith Academy, Independent Methodist, the University of Mobile, Carmen Child Care Center, Cedar Grove Academy, St. Mark United Methodist, St. Mary's, Washington County.
And those closed tomorrow include the Escambia County School System in Alabama, Santa Rosa County in Florida. Most Pure Heart of Mary School in Mobile will be closed. Spring Hill College will be closed.
And the Baldwin County Courthouse will be open tomorrow. So will Armstrong World Industries, Sofley Field and Whiting Field. The Red Cross Blood Center in Northwest Florida will be open, and officials are saying blood is desperately needed in Florida and Alabama.
Also, the Red Cross has asked us to announce that the centers in Mobile and Baldwin County are closed. The United Methodist Women's Conference for Alabama and West Florida has been postponed, and the Christus Lecture at Spring Hill College set for tonight has been canceled.
And that is it for us here on Action News 10 to 5 p.m. Coming up next, the NBC Nightly News.
Stay with us. Dia Foster and I will be back with a lot more local news on Action News 10 at 6 p.m. See you then.